Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Glasgow City Council meeting. First, we will stand up and give the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
To remain standing, Council Member Kirkpatrick will lead us in the invocation.
Bow your head, please. Dear Lord, thank you for waking us all this morning, and thank you for this body of servants. Lord, I'd like to pray for all of the victims and the families that have been endured such tragedies in our community in the past few weeks. Lord, give them all peace and comfort in the days ahead that only you can do. I also ask that you bless our first responders with strength and protection in the face of trauma. God, guide our meeting tonight. I love you and ask all these things in your precious holy name. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Back on Thursday of last week, you all received the proposed agenda for us to go by tonight. I will entertain a motion. Actually, before I do that, we got to call the roll.
We got a roll call.
I got to make sure who's here first. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, Clerk Cashin, welcome back.
Thank you.
And we'd like to have you call the roll for us.
Kirkpatrick.
Yes, ma'am.
Trigg. Yes. Norris.
Here.
Shoemaker. Neal.
Here.
Wilkinson.
Here.
Bunnell.
Present.
Burris.
Here.
Lowry.
Here.
All right, we have one member absent, but we have a quorum, and we can move forward with the meeting tonight. Now, that agenda that you all got last Thursday, you had a chance to look over it, and I would entertain a motion that we would abide by that particular agenda when we resume this meeting.
Motion, Bunnell.
Second, Lowry.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. So now we're going to move and approve the minutes of the council meeting that we had back on October the 13th. You had a chance to look over those minutes, and we want to enter them into the record, but first we need to approve so. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Norris. Okay, we have Councilman Norris and Councilman Neal making a motion and a second on that. Is there any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, the minutes are now in the record book for October the 13th. We're going to move forward right now. I'm going to call Fire Chief Lucas Tinsley to the podium while I get over and get set up, because we're going to do something that's always enjoyable. We're going to be pinning some new members of the Glasgow Fire Department. Lucas?
Thank you, sir. Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you tonight in honoring 3 of Glasgow Fire Department's new members. We have Taylor Neal, Corbin Wells, and Cash Wells. I would really like to thank the families, loved ones, and the friends of these young men for the support and the sacrifices that you have to make for these guys. This is a very tough job at times, and they will need you and your support throughout their career. They're about to begin a role in the service of others, those that are in need, and there can be no higher calling. And we want to thank you, and thank you again for all of the support you're going to give tonight. Mr. Mayor, I present to you for the swearing in and pinning of probationary firefighters Taylor Neal, Corbin Wells, and Cash Wells.
All
Come
right,
on up,
gentlemen, come forward. We're going to, for the benefit of our audience here and for the audience watching on TV, your name is?
Taylor Neal.
Come up here in the microphone where they can hear you.
Taylor Neal.
All right. Your name is?
Cash Wells.
Cash?
Sir.
And your name is?
Corbin Wells.
Corbin, good to see you. Now, understand that y'all have made a selection of who's going to pin these pins on you, right?
Yes, sir.
So I think probably what we will do is have family members one at a time, or one group at a time, come up here and pin our new firefighters with all of their hardware here Chief, you want to pick that out, so I don't want to give them the wrong thing. So who's going to pin you?
My fiancee, Grace Champion.
Okay, well, isn't that nice? Your fiance is with you. Have you practiced on this, Grace?
No, I haven't.
You haven't practiced? Wonderful. That's a lot of hardware. Congratulations. Let's give him a hand. We got to get pictures with everybody. Now, who's going to pin you?
We'll do my father, Jamie Wells.
Jamie Wells. Come up here, Jamie. Good to see you, sir.
See you.
A lot of pressure, Pops.
I see that. I can't see. I don't have a reader.
Careful, pins are exposed.
Okay. Doesn't matter what's
That works.
All right, let's get a round of applause. Good job. Stand right there. We got one more to go in the picture. And who's going to help you?
My mother, Amber Wells.
Amber Wells. Amber, there she is. That's cheating, I think. Okay, now let's give him a round of applause. I'm going to move this microphone. We'll get the chief over here. We'll get a picture of this entire group. He's getting some final instructions there. You got something to read? Okay, well, let me give you a microphone here and you can read it. This is for you. Oh, this is for me? Okay.
That's the oath.
Oh, the oath. I thought we were just going to do pens. Okay, I'm going to ask each of you all to raise your right hand, and I'm going to read the oath.
Can we get a family to step out so I get a picture just now?
Okay. All right, gentlemen. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as I continue a citizen thereof, and that I will faithfully execute to the best of my ability the office of firefighter for the city of Glasgow according to law. And I do further solemnly swear that since the adoption of the present Constitution, I, being a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within this state nor out of it, nor have I sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have I acted as a second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help me God. Do you all agree with the statement I just read to you? Okay, well, congratulations. You are a part of a great group of people.
Mayor, can they get a picture with you?
Thank you.
Now, go up there and get a picture.
They want the family one now.
They wanted a family picture.
That's a 1,500. Oh, yeah. These are at the handicap to you.
If they've ever swum silly together.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, hey, who's the A player? Who? Matthew who? That's the heat of operating.
Mr. Wells, did you say your
Only one?
grandfather or their grandfather? Oh, what was his name? Leo Chapman. Leo Chapman.
He wanted to play.
A regular George J's.
Congratulations.
Hey, he was ranked by the fire department then. He helped put the new engine in Granny.
Oh, wow.
He was that handy.
Yeah. And Cody, I don't know if you got the video camera over there, but
Good
there was
history.
a
Good
bunch
history.
of firefighters who were in the room tonight just to be here, to be a part of this ceremony. And I think that paints the picture of the type of organization that these young gentlemen are going to become a part of. We're very proud of our Glasgow Fire Department and very proud of the job they do and the hard work that they do and the all of the training and those kind of things. So congratulations. Glad to have all the family here tonight as well. All right. We're going to move on down the agenda. We actually have an ordinance that we need to hear from you, Rich.
This is the first reading of an ordinance amending Ordinance 2025-3075, the city's annual budget for fiscal year July 1, 2025 through June 30 of 26. This relates to the Glasgow Police Department and the Glasgow Fire Department. Be it hereby ordained by the City of Glasgow that its annual budget for July 1, 2025 through June 30, 26 is hereby amended as follows. Section 1, the sum of $24,500 is hereby appropriated from the unappropriated general fund and transferred as follows. A, $9,000 is transferred to the Police Department technical account for increase in Axon contract for body cameras and tasers for 3 additional officers. Subparagraph B, $3,500 is transferred to the Police Department uniforms and clothing account for uniforms and gear for the 3 additional officers. Subsection C, $10,500 is transferred to the Police Department technical supplies account for the computers and vests for the 3 additional officers. And subparagraph D, $1,500 is transferred to the Police Department communication and postage account for cell phones for the 3 additional officers. Section 2, the sum of $11,936.33 is hereby reappropriated from the general fund and transferred as follows. Subparagraph A, $11,936.33 is transferred from the Fire Department technical equipment account and transferred to the Fire Department technical supplies account for the purchase of high-pressure lifting bags. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect upon its passage and publication according to law.
You heard first reading of this ordinance. First of all, we can get it up on the floor for a vote. I will entertain a motion that we approve this on first reading.
Motion, Benel.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, from Councilman Burris. All right. Now, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Yes, sir. Joe?
Yes, the 3 officers, is that bringing them up to the total number that we previously agreed to? Because we're putting extra funding in.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Last year you all approved the 3 additional funding for those officers. They are now officially on board, and all that equipment is for them.
It makes it official. Other discussion?
Is the police department allotment full now, Chief?
Yes, we are full. They're not all on the road, but we are full.
And what's that number?
37.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a long time coming, I know.
It is.
And I'm glad you're there.
Me too.
It's a good part. Just like we said about the fire department, our police department is something we're very proud of, and we're glad to see that you've got a full complement of officers as well.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? There being none, I will call the question. All in favor of amending the this ordinance indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, and it is approved on the first reading. Rich?
Next item is a first reading of an ordinance amending the text of the city's zoning regulations codified as Chapter 158 of the City of Glasgow Code of Ordinances. That whereas the Joint City-County Planning Commission of Barron County met in regular session on July 21st of this year, conducted a public hearing relative to certain proposed text amendments to the city's zoning regulations, and at the conclusion of the hearing, because the proposed text amendments were in agreement with the Glasgow zoning ordinance and in compliance with the goals and objectives of the adopted comprehensive plan, the City-County Planning Commission unanimously approved the proposed text amendments. And whereas the Joint City-County Planning Commission of Barron County has forwarded the proposed text amendments to the Glasgow City Council for consideration, a copy of which is attached as Exhibit A, now therefore be it hereby ordained by the City of Glasgow as follows. Section 1, the city's zoning ordinance codified as Chapter 158 of the City of Glasgow, Kentucky Code of Ordinances shall be and hereby are amended to read as follows. Any words being added are indicated by a solid line drawn underneath them, any words being deleted by a single line drawn through them, and all affected text being highlighted in yellow. See attached Exhibit A, which is incorporated herein by reference as if specifically set forth. Section 2, with regard to the text amendments to Sections 158.295, 158.296, 158.308 subparagraph C, and 158.038 subparagraph D, this ordinance shall take effect on July 1, 2026, and upon its passage and publication according to law. Section 3, all other text amendments shall take effect immediately upon passage and publication according to law.
All right, you have heard the first reading of this ordinance, and we can get up on the floor for a vote if somebody will make a motion that we do so.
Motion, Lowry.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Neal. All right, motion and a second. What about discussion on this particular ordinance? Any discussion?
Can we just have Kevin just to speak on a little bit?
Who?
Is it Kevin that put this?
Yeah.
On this? Can he just speak on a little bit?
I'll reiterate what was in the minutes there because a public hearing was conducted, so I can't offer any new testimony, but to kind of give you a brief overview. The language in the text there for the zoning ordinance relates to those of data centers, what we know of those things and those entities. We put that specific text in there just because of what they do, what they use for our city, and any other entities that may have them as well. It's just protection for the citizens and the utility companies as well. It does not outlaw them or anything like that. It just puts them in the Board of Adjustment realm, that the city board. So they are allowed by conditional uses in the industrial zonings. But because we didn't even reference them, they would just be allowed. That's why we had to at least address it and put the actual definition of what a data center is in there. The other thing that we've added into our zoning ordinance was that of the modified housing on lots that are smaller than our minimum lot size requirements in the R2 zoning. Just to give, we all know that we have a shortage of housing. We're aware of that. Hopefully this is something that may be a spark to reinvest in some of those lots that maybe are a little too small, and we're proposing some type of new type of dwellings, duplexes that kind of set on one top of each other, as opposed to a side by side where they take up a lot more of the lot, a lot more of the square footage of the lot. If they sit on top of one another and they still have like a single door, they still give that appearance of a single family home along a residence or a neighborhood that is maybe single family homes. But in addition to that, they have two forms of income now. They have additional places for individuals to live and to rent, and we're just trying to think outside the box and provide that for the citizens of Glasgow to have that opportunity on lots that are maybe too small for multifamily in that realm. That's pretty well the gist of all of it. The other things you may see that are highlighted are simple numerical changes in the section numbers and maybe a grammatical change that we noticed that we had to make the change for there. So do y'all have any questions or additional comments on that at all?
All right.
Okay.
Good discussion. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, James, for asking him to come up here.
I will add one other thing to Mr. Myatt. You noticed that we broke it out. Certain sections take effect July 1 of 2026. That's to coincide with when the state law takes effect. That's we had it match up with that. Everything else takes effect immediately. And that's, you might want to touch on that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That references the manufactured housing statute that was just passed in the last term. As Mr. Alexander said, it takes place and it starts July 1, 2026. That state statute states that manufactured housing is permitted by right in any zoning classification that a single-family home is allowed as well. So it won't be able to go in industrial zonings or commercial zonings like that, but anywhere that residential zoning classifications are set, by right, manufactured housing will be allowed. City has a specific ordinance with regards to manufactured housing that states that it can't be located anywhere outside of a manufactured or mobile home park unless it goes before the Board of Adjustment. This is a change to that, but there are some criteria that has to be met. So just to reiterate, manufactured housing, it has to be 20 feet wide, it has to have 900 square feet of floor space, and it cannot be no older than 5 years of age from the date of installation. So even there's some parameters set in that by right as well, so they would be permitted. I know there's some individuals that may live in neighborhoods, established neighborhoods. If you don't have private restrictions or HOA covenants, they're allowed anywhere that a single-family home is allowed. And the state legislators determined that was hopefully a help with regards to the housing crisis as well. Yes, sir.
No, go right ahead. Sorry, Randy.
Tiny homes, does that change anything, or is it new?
No, tiny homes,
Things like that?
we do have that where we acknowledge the building code, the International Building Code dictates that a tiny home is 400 square feet or smaller. That's its actual definition. So we updated our regs to match that definition. And then the tiny homes are allowed in any tiny home park. They're allowed on any manufacturer or any lot in Glasgow that's zoned for residential. If you're going to create like maybe a tiny home park, the minimum lot size I think is 3,000 square feet. So we reduced that considerably down to kind of match the size of those homes as well. You know, for the yard space in correlation with the size of the home too. So they were already wrote in there, but we had to kind of finalize what that definition of the tiny home was with regards to the square footage.
They're allowed in any neighborhood?
They're allowed in the R2, R3, and R4s. R1s, they're not permitted in. That's the lowest density residential zoning we have, and they have typically the largest lot size. So they're allowed in the R2 through R4 zoning classifications.
But Mr. Wilkinson, remember that would be if the development did not have any of its own private restrictions. So if a subdivision had its own restrictions that had a certain square footage for the home or certain requirements for that structure, that would trump this zoning law. It would trump it, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this just said.
Would that be updated though, the HOAs, or?
Yeah, if the subdivision restrictions expire, then this would permit it, but they can be renewed or.
It's up to the subdivision occupants to be able to refile those with the clerk's office and to put those back into legal terms with regards to that.
Some kind of conversation in one of these meetings you were talking about that those things don't get updated because
Right.
somebody that developed that has passed on or,
Yeah.
moved on, and it's
Yeah,
not followed
sometimes
through,
those we held several public meetings before leading up to this public hearing, and just to reiterate those back to the citizens, you know, if you haven't looked at your covenants, and if you do have covenants, you need to review them because they do expire. A lot of them are set for 25, 30 years, and then unless 75% or all of them sign off, they will expire. So this portion of the zoning update does not go into effect until July 1 of next year. However, it will go into effect regardless if we change anything or not.
Would
State
that
statute.
be on file with you? Like, does that?
The private
home
restrictions?
HOAs or?
No, we don't. We can't enforce private restrictions. We can only enforce what the legislative body has passed for us to enforce. So anything beyond our rules and regs, we can't enforce. Design standards, square footage of homes, those things are usually set privately and recorded in individual's deed or in a miscellaneous book.
That'd be at the county clerk's.
Yes, sir.
It'd be in the clerk's office.
County clerk's office.
County clerk's office, yes, sir.
All right, any further discussion? It's good discussion. I'll call the question. All in favor of approving this on first reading indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ordinance is passed on first reading. Rich?
Next item is a first reading of an ordinance rezoning the property located at 909, 911, 913, and 915 West Main Street, and also located at 211 and 215 Rogers Road, containing 7.5 acres more or less from I-1 to a B2 classification. It appearing that the owner and applicant, Edmonton State Bank, has requested a zoning change for the property located at 909, 911, 913, and 915 West Main Street, and also located at 211 and 215 Rogers Road in Glasgow, containing 7.5 acres more or less in the city from an I-1, which is light industrial district, to a B2 general business district classification. A schematic drawing of the property subject to rezoning is attached as Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference. A trial-type due process hearing concerning this zoning change was held on April 21st of this year by the Joint City-County Planning and Zoning Commission, resulting in the unanimous recommendation that the property hereinafter described be rezoned from I-1 to a B2 classification. Copies of the findings and recommendations of the Commission have been forwarded to the Council, are hereby approved by the Council, and attached to this ordinance as Exhibit B. Now therefore be it hereby ordained by the city as follows. Section 1, the findings and recommendations of the commission, copies of which are attached as Exhibit B, are approved in all respects. Section 2, the zoning for the property located at 909, 911, 913, and 915 West Main Street and 211 and 215 Rogers Road, containing 7.5 acres, shall be changed from I-1 to a B2 classification. The property covered by this ordinance being particularly described in Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference. Section 2, all future development of this property shall comply with the requirement of the development plan ordinance adopted by the council on December 30, 1991. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect upon its passage and publication according to law.
Okay, you've heard the first reading of this ordinance rezoning this property, and I would entertain a motion that we approve the first reading of this ordinance.
Motion, Benel.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Neal. All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there a discussion?
Kevin, I got a question. Empton Bank has been there for as long as I can remember. So
Right.
What's the incentive?
Okay.
Is there a tax incentive?
No.
All right.
They were zoned industrial. They were there for a period of 10 years or more. They're grandfathered in, or what we call an existing non-conforming use, and they're allowed by right. When they had the property that the former Whitty's muffler shop and brake shop were on, when they bought that property, I think their intentions were to build on it. And I-1 zoning classification, those setbacks are great. They're tremendous off of lines, because typically in a manufactured zoning classification, you have large, uses,
Yes.
big trucks and things like that. They were miszoned when they were built there. Of course, we remember, bypass was built, the edge of the city limits. That's where a lot of our industrial section was, down Main Street. So it never got changed prior to me being here. But when they wanted to build, we recommended that they should rezone their property to a commercial classification and reduce those setbacks off of property lines for themselves to be able to use more of their property. So they went with that and followed the application in a timely manner, and we recommended approval for that to be a commercial classification. There's no tax incentive, though. The clerk or the PVA office doesn't assess property based on our zoning classification.
All right, good discussion. Anything else? All right, I'll call the question then. All in favor of passing this ordinance on first reading indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ordinance is approved on first reading.
Next item is the first reading of an ordinance rezoning the property located at 629 West Cherry Street, containing a little over 8 acres more or less, from an R2 to a B3 classification. It appearing that the owner and applicant K&M Services has requested a zoning change for the property located at 629 West Cherry Street in Glasgow, containing 8.022 acres more or less in the city, from an R2 medium-density residential district to a B3 highway service business district classification. A schematic drawing of the property subject to rezoning is attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference. A trial-type due process hearing concerning this zoning change was held on July 21 of this year by the Joint City-County Planning and Zoning Commission, resulting in a unanimous recommendation that the property be rezoned from R2 to B3. Copies and findings of the recommendations of the Commission have been forwarded to the Council and are hereby adopted by the Council and attached as Exhibit B to this ordinance. Therefore, be it hereby ordained by the City of Glasgow as follows. Section 1, the findings and recommendations of the Commission, copies of which are attached as Exhibit B, are hereby approved in all respects. Section 2, the zoning for the property located at 629 West Cherry Street in Glasgow, containing 8.022 acres more or less, shall be changed from R2 to a B3 classification. The real property covered by this ordinance being more particularly described in Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference. Section 3, all future development of this property shall comply with the requirements of the Development Plan Ordinance adopted by the Council on December 30, 1991. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect upon its passage and publication according to law.
All right, thank you, Rich. You have heard the reading of the resolution, not the resolution, this is actually an ordinance, the first reading of the rezoning ordinance, and I would get it up on the table for discussion with a motion to approve it.
Motion, Bunnell.
Okay, is there a second? Second from Councilman Kirkpatrick. We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on this particular ordinance?
Yes, Kevin. So again, this is another piece of property that school has been there since I started school.
Yes,
so was it zoned or
Well,
before? It never. From the looks of it, if it was residential, it never was a school. I mean, district.
right. So
All right.
any instrumentality of state government is exempt from the zoning ordinance. So schools, the city, the county, they're all exempt from zoning laws. They're not exempt from development plans or those type of things, construction, but they are exempt from the zoning ordinance itself. So as long as the school has existed, the classification has been there. It was always exempt. But the moment that the school sold that property to a private individual, that zoning classification became implemented. Okay, it was zoned R2 at the time. The applicant on their application there at the time had the idea of potentially setting that for a assisted living or that for elderly living and creating apartments within that building. Obviously, having to bring it up to the building code. But during that meeting, they actually met with the Planning Commission during that public hearing and stated that the portion where the gym or where the cafeteria used to be there, that they were going to use that maybe as a venue, and that they had been approached by what is now Glasgow Christian Academy to locate their school there. Now, Glasgow Christian Academy is not an instrumentality of state government because they're a private school. So in order for them to locate there, they had to rezone the property to a commercial classification because the venue where the cafeteria was to be used is commercial in principle. So you're paying for a product or a service at that point. So it's constituted as a business.
So when they're saying the highway, they're going to change it to a highway service business district.
Yes, sir. It's a B3 classification.
All right. So what is that limited to?
Okay. It's not limited to anything commercial, and it does allow for residential development within it as well, the B3. B3 classification is a classification that services state highways like 31, the bypass, or like Happy Valley Road, and this property has access via the street to it, short access to it. They do actually have access to Happy Valley, that one lane that goes to it on the northeast side, I guess you would say, of the property. Now I lost my train of thought, I'm sorry, but their intention was at the time to have apartment complex there with the venue. And then the Christian Academy had, contacted them during our meeting or prior to our meeting, and they had worked that out with them.
So they could open it up to other businesses. So the Christian Academy could end up, say, the Christian Academy there, and you could have a Hardee's.
It would be difficult, but technically they could have that together. But it would be extremely difficult because the building code is going to limit them tremendously on that because the building is attached. So if you're saying a separate Hardee's, or let's just use a separate restaurant off by itself, yes, technically that can locate on that property. Yes, sir. Now, prior to that happening, a development plan would have to be implemented and a traffic study would have to be done to make sure that those local city streets that carry out to the state highways could carry that new anticipated volume of traffic.
Right. So you and I both know that's an alleyway.
Certainly.
Down by Oddfellows, past the old Ford furniture place, down to the thing. So, that's the width of it, is an alleyway.
Right.
So if they decided to put, like they were originally saying, a multiplex residence, would that, I guess, can they do they have enough land to do whatever expansion they want to do? Can they still have the Christian Academy and then expand to where they have, say, another apartment complex where the current parking lot is, and then other businesses? Because there's enough land.
Right. It would be difficult. one of the things you have to take into consideration is we all know the property that we're talking about. We're all aware of that. It has a large drainage structure in it, okay? So first and foremost, the Planning Commission is going to require that drainage structure to remain so that it can still continue to handle that anticipated traffic or water volume because it's carrying a lot of that hillside down through there, first and foremost. Could they theoretically locate that on there? Yes, but the Planning Commission, they would put several stipulations or binding elements on there. That lane that you're talking about, they would probably make that a exit only so that you wouldn't have multiple vehicles coming back and forth through there because we can't eliminate an entrance, one that's already existing, but we could put stipulations on there that would require, hey, this is a sensitive area. It's adjacent to, you know, maybe a sensitive property that's beside that. We're going to try to protect that property as much as we can. The roadway is only big enough for one vehicle to come in or out one way, and that's typically what we would look at for that.
And I'm going to make the assumption, because I think most of us have that little strip that comes down to there, for them to say that they have highway access to Happy Valley, when realistically, that's part of, well, the folks that's there think it's their parking lot.
Yeah, I know. Technically, by the PVA office, I mean, that property does, that access lane does go with the 8 acres that Mr. Alexander's referenced. It does go with it by deed. So, yeah, that lane does go to what was formerly the school, now the applicant's property there at K&M. We would, as a planning commission, we would have a strong look at public safety for that lane. Okay, but technically, it does have access onto a state highway or highway service. Yes, sir.
All right, great discussion. Any other questions for Kevin while he's at the podium? All right, we have a motion and a second to pass the first reading of this ordinance. I'll ask all in favor to indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. All right, this particular first reading of the West Cherry Street ordinance has been approved.
The next item is a resolution of the City Council encouraging and inducing Tate Incorporated, its affiliates, successors, and/or signs to proceed with the acquisition, development, construction, and operation of an industrial building by agreeing to undertake the issuance of industrial building revenue bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $75 million issued to one or more series and/or denominations, agreeing to a memorandum of agreement, lease, and a payment in lieu of taxes agreement, and agreeing to take such other action as necessary or required to authorize the issuance of the bonds. And I'll be reading from a summary on this resolution. This resolution seeks to encourage and induce Tate Incorporated to proceed with the acquiring, developing, constructing, and operating of an industrial building. The industrial building will house the equipment necessary to manufacture next-generation raised access floors, airflow management, and infrastructure solutions for commercial and data center applications. And the project is expected to promote economic development and create new job opportunities in this area. The city is authorized by state law to issue industrial building revenue bonds for the purpose of defraying the costs of acquiring, constructing, equipping, and operating this industrial building. And this resolution authorizes the city to undertake the issuance of those bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $75 million. The city's bonds for this project will not be secured by the city's full faith, credit, or taxing power, but will be payable solely from the payments made by Tate Incorporated pursuant to a lease agreement. In other words, the city is not obligating itself to pay these bonds from its own funds. The financial arrangement shall be as follows. First, the city and Tate Incorporated will enter into a lease agreement whereby the city holds record ownership of the project and leases it to Tate Incorporated. Tate Incorporated shall make lease payments to the city in amounts necessary to retire the bonds. Second, during the construction of the project and during the lease term while the bonds are being paid off, there shall be no ad valorem property taxes due and owing on the project, and a payment in lieu of taxes agreement otherwise sometimes called pilot agreement, shall be entered into providing for payment of certain amounts to local taxing authorities in lieu of the ad valorem taxes until the bonds are fully paid. Then, when Tate Incorporated becomes the record owner of the property will go on the normal tax rolls and be assessed accordingly. Third, this resolution authorizes the mayor to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the city, or on the city's behalf rather, with Tate Incorporated to evidence the parties' preliminary agreement on the terms and conditions of this arrangement. Fourth, this resolution appoints and approves the Bowling Green law firm of English, Lucas, Priest, and Owsley to act as bond counsel for this project. Fifth, the issuance of the bonds is contingent upon the approval of the incentive package from the state, and the city may issue additional bonds if needed for the project so long as the aggregate principal amount does not exceed $75 million. And then lastly, this resolution takes effect immediately upon its adoption.
All right, you have heard Rich's summary, and we have been studying about this and had discussion about this. First, I would entertain a motion that we approve this resolution.
Motion, Lowry.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all right, we've got a motion and a second. We will move into the phase of discussion, and she's getting to be a regular. Maureen Carpenter, the CEO of the Barron County Economic Authority, is with us tonight in the event that there are any questions or any explanation needed for the council to consider this particular resolution. So I would entertain, I would open up the floor for discussion. If anybody has any discussion or have anything that you would like Maureen to explain. Yes, Joe?
So, yes, so I guess my question is twofold. One is to Marlene and one is to Matt. So the first thing we did earlier was we added data centers to our definitions of property assessments or evaluation, if I remember correctly, right? The first thing we did was a resolution to change city code to include data centers. So is that partially to make sure that these guys are covered, the Tate building? You know what I'm saying? Or is that for like separate data centers where you have the individual?
My understanding, they're
Because it seems like they're linked based on the.
No, Tate's not a data center. It just makes, it maybe makes products for data centers, for all I know. That regulation only pertains to a full-fledged data center. That's what they do on site.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So they would not, this would not fall under their purview.
So you see how the two ran together, right? The resolution and data center to your things, and then the first product description is talking about data center.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm good then.
That's
All right. Other discussion?
So following up, when you were here the other night, this is sort of the next step, paperwork, right?
Maureen, what would be the typical term of these bonds? You know,
Other questions?
I think I asked you several questions the other day in the meeting, and I appreciate you coming to answer, and you did a great job of answering all the questions I had. I was one of the things still sticks out in my mind, because everything we do up here seems like it takes years and weeks and months, whether it's the building this or that, and you said the timeline. I said, well, I was expecting 2027, 2020, hoping I'm still around. But you said they were basically ready to start hiring, didn't you, in January?
Yes, so with the
Oh, yeah, well, I'm sorry. Will you walk over here with this microphone? We'll pick up your words. Thank you.
Okay. So with the inducement resolution, that really, we do that in advance of the agreements because that starts the clock of when they can start spending the funds. So they can order the equipment to be delivered, they can close on the property. So this is kind of the staged, and then the next one will be doing the lease agreement, having those, the pilot agreement, and they'll officially sign those. So this gets that clock starting, so they can start spending money, get the facility under control, do those updates, and then in 2026, they plan to start hiring, yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Other discussion?
Another thing I found interesting, they said you were juggling two other companies, and I don't know, maybe it's not to
Well,
be
we have the
known, but
union
that was...
coating project that we're doing in South Cooper, and then also we have the Bluegrass Ingredients project. And then, you know, obviously, we still get inquiries. We still have several lots in our industrial park, so working those as well.
But what, getting this project versus in that building versus...
It's a big win for the city.
Sure it
That's
is.
a very big asset in our community, so we want to make sure that there's people working there.
All right. Thank you very much for good discussion. We have a motion, we have a second, we've done discussion. Now I'm going to call the question. All in favor of approving this resolution for the, they call it the inducement resolution, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, it passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Rich, we have one more resolution to consider here.
Yes, sir. This is a resolution directing that City Treasurer Victoria Simmons be placed on all bank signature cards and that she be authorized to open new bank accounts for and on behalf of the city. Be it hereby resolved by the City of Glasgow as follows. The City Treasurer Victoria Simmons is hereby authorized to be placed on all of the city's bank account signature cards and that she be authorized to open new bank accounts for and on behalf of the city, adopted today's date.
All right, you've heard first reading of the resolution. I would entertain a motion that we approve this resolution.
Motion.
From Councilman Neal, is there a second?
Second, Lowry.
From Councilman Lowry, okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion about this particular resolution? There being none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The resolution passes. Okay, I think what we need to do is we want to go ahead and do announcements. Sure. Well, okay, yeah, the notification of pending list of appointments per resolution number 2016-2341 for municipal orders to be approved at our next council meeting. Look at your agenda and you'll be able to see some reappointments and some new appointments to different committees here in the city. We need to know about what's going on. The, Halloween is here. It's the spooktacular evening in Glasgow, trick or treat. Friday, October 31st, 4:30 till 7 p.m. Have a safe and fun Halloween. Saturday, the first day of November, a fun night at the Plaza. It's the Motown Mania, presented by the Bobby Driver Memorial Scholarship Fund at the Plaza. It's going to be at 115 East Main Street. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And then we have the lip sync coming up on the 15th. That's the Hometown Showdown lip sync. I've been hearing little snippets about various teams. I think there's going to be 8 teams this year for the Lowdown Hoedown, Showdown, rather. Let me get the right rhyming words in there. You can come down there and cheer on your favorite teams. And it's gotten to be a real popular event, and the date you want to mark on your calendar is November the 15th. The tickets are on sale. Just go to historicplaza.com and you can secure yours. Biddy Ball League sign-ups have been extended for fall of 2025 until Friday the 31st. Registration will end at 3 on Friday. Be sure to go to glasgow.recdesk.com and get registered for Biddy Ball. And then the, the pre-sale for the season passes to the Joyce Driver Aquatic Center begin at noon today. Well, I guess they began at noon today. And the passes will be available at the pre-sale rate from now.
I didn't.
Those are already going on. That happened.
Well, this is outdated.
They're ongoing.
They're ongoing. Okay, all right. So, yes, it's already underway, and I'm sure there's some left. But that's the pre-sale of the season passes for the wonderful Joyce Driver Aquatic Center. You can go up to the 309 South Liberty location of the Rec Department and get those taken care of. All right.
I think we should mention, too, that Sunday clocks fall back. So
All right, 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, we fall backwards.
fall backwards.
So how long will it take us to get used to that?
until spring.
Okay, all right. That's what I was thinking too. Joe?
Thanks to the city, county, all the government entities made last week's event a success for the community. Community thanks you, and then y'all thank each other. You know how it works.
Well, I know a lot of people who worked hard on that, Joe, and it was something that a lot of people in the community noticed that there was a lot of hard work done on, so congratulations on that, for sure. And you want me to thank Happy, too? Yeah. Okay, all right. Thank you, Happy. Mr.
Neal.
He's always involved in things like that. All right, anything else that we need to do before we entertain a motion to adjourn? All right, all in
Motion.
favor, we need a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you very much for your time tonight.